Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Welcome to part one of the tutorial for the 8x8 and Vogue album. Um, we are going to recreate this following pretty much the same page layouts with just a few things changed around. I don't want it to be exactly 100%, but it is going to be 8x8 with a 1.5-inch spine. And the layouts, we're just going to move them around a bit. And I'm going to make some changes to some of the gussets, but overall, it's pretty much going to be the same. So let's get started. For chipboard, I use cereal boxes. I use um, lightweight chipboard. This one happens to be a cereal box. I have used lightweight chipboard. It's very bendable, but when you finally put all your papers and everything on top of it, it's going to be super sturdy like this one. It's rock hard. Okay? So, I'm going to give you the measurements that you're going to need for the cover and the spine. So, you're going to need two pieces that are 8x8, and I'm hoping you can see that. Two pieces, 8x8. But if anything, in the description box, you're going to see all the cutting guides. And you need two of those. You're going to need one piece that's 1.5 by 8. That's your spine. To mount the covers, to cover your cardboard, I have two smaller pieces. Now, I didn't have 12 by 12 paper, but if you do have 12 by 12 paper that you want to use, then you're going to cut two pieces that are 10 by 10. Okay? And once you cut your 10 by 10, which will be about this size, you're going to score it at the 1 inch on one side. You're going to turn it and score it 1 inch again. If you are like me and I have tons and tons of white 8.5 by 11 cardstock, then you're going to cut two pieces. That's going to be 5 by 10. And you're going to score it at 1 inch on the left and on the bottom, right? So you turn it, score, turn it again, score. And you're going to cut another two pieces that are going to be 5.5 by 10. And the reason why we have the half is so that way we can put them together. So this is what it will look like. And these, the 5.5 by 10s, you do not need to score. So this will overlap, and let me just line this up on my grid as straight as I can get it. Okay, that one's straight, and this one is straight now. So once you get them as close together as you can, I tend to take a little bit off the top. I hope you can see that. Just to allow me to get it into place. Hold that down and then just pull the rest off. And there I have a piece that is 10 by 10. 10 by 10. The reason why we're scoring in the corners is so that way we can align this as best we can, as close to it being in the center, because when we cut the paper, we cut it to give us a 1 inch all the way around. So let me just assemble this one very quickly. Line up my paper, take a bit off, line up my paper. Let me slide down. Okay, slide that underneath, line up my paper. And my score tape is about a 1/2 inch. So once that's as straight as can be, I'm gonna hold that down and then just pull it all out. And there we have it. So I did prepare myself and put score tape on the back. Putting it together is very easy. I am using Tamara's lay flat method. I think that's going to be my go-to method for all my albums and journals. I love the way it feels and how easy it comes together. So now that we have that, I have some score tape hanging over the side, so I'm just gonna turn that down. And then right here in the corner where the two crosses meet, we're gonna line that up there. So I'm gonna turn this around. And you probably noticed that I have like a crease from my cereal box. By the time we add all the layers, it's not gonna move. Give that a good burnish from where I joined the two pieces. Burnish all the back. Okay. And then we're going to miter our corners. Now when you miter your corners, you don't want to go all the way to the corner. You do not want that corner piece exposed. So I usually come up at an angle, leave a little bit, and then turn. That's just my preference. See how much I left there? And then we're going to do the same thing over here. Okay. Same thing on this side. Just a little bit. And I'm going to show you a trick just in case you do get too close to the edge and you don't give yourself enough to cover. If that happens, just want to make sure that I have enough to cover before I get there. Yes. You can always take one of the pieces that you cut off and glue it to the corner, and that'll disguise your cardboard. So in case that happens, don't fret. I just need my scoring tool, which I have like a gazillion of them, and none of them next to, oh, here it goes, next to me. So I just go along the edge just to help break up the fibers of the paper, and it'll help with the fold. And then we're just gonna start molding this and training it to turn the way we need it to. Okay. And then we're gonna come in with our score tape, and we're going to start to frame our cover. Okay, let's just add that there. And then we're gonna add this one here. And I probably, you know, do overkill, but I do both sides and glue only because I don't want it falling apart. And I think this might just be enough. So we're just gonna come in this way, get that in, get this down, get this going, and then I'm just pushing that in, and then we're gonna get the glue. All right, so I got my glue, and I'm using art glitter glue, and the glue is just for this areas in the corners that don't have score tape. So we're gonna start there, and then add some glue, add a little bit on the seam. And just because with any score tape, this is not the best score tape, I just add a little glue just to be sure. You're gonna start folding it down in the middle and then work your way outwards, pushing that glue down. And then you can come in and burnish and get rid of any excess glue that comes out. Just spread that glue. Okay. And I'm gonna come around on the opposite side and do exactly the same thing. You can go side by side by side. This is just my preference. Can't see where my tape is at. Here it goes. And I do have overlap on the top. If that should happen, just turn it in. No big deal. Some there, all around, on the edge, and a little bit here. This is how I destroy my mats. Okay, we're gonna bring it in from the center first, and then work your way out to the ends, and then give it a good burnish, pushing out any excess glue and spreading out that glue. Okay, and do the other side again with the glue. mindful of the corners. Again, with the center, and then work your way out to the corners. Now my corners don't pop out as much. You can miter them in, but as you can see, my corners come out fairly decent, and I don't have to train them in. But if you give it too much space, just come in and give it a little turn, a little scoring there, and turn them in. Okay, last side. Okay, in from the center, and then out to the corners, and then burnish it all down. Okay. And there you have our first cover. We're going to do the same thing on the next one, but this one I'm just going to speed up. Okay, so here we go. We have our two covers all assembled and covered. We're gonna work with our 1.5 by 8 inch spine, and the piece we're gonna cut is 4.5 by 10. That gives us 1.5 inches on either side to be able to anchor to our covers. So with the 4.5 inch side on the top, you're gonna score 1.5. You're gonna rotate it clockwise, and then you're gonna score at 1 inch. This one I did not prep, so let me do this fairly quickly. And you can see I'm using a cereal box. I am not a big cereal eater. However, I do have a lot of enablers that save their children's cereal boxes for me, which I am so appreciative of. I'm so sorry. I'm looking for my thinner score tape, which I don't see. I'll just grab another one. Might have to overlap this one. It's okay. Where could it have gone? It didn't go anywhere. Alright. We'll use this one. It'll overlap a bit. Okay. And then we're going to burnish that really good. So I'm going to pull off the one that's on the bottom first, which will gently lift the other one up. Come in, get that down again, and come in from the other side and pick that up. Again, right at the part where your two score lines meet, you're gonna lay it down. And then give it a good burnish. then with our scoring tool, we're just gonna help it along to fold. And this one I do with glue, so we're gonna bring this down. I'm gonna help train that paper to turn. And then here I use all glue. Okay. So coming in from the center, right? I'm gonna bring it over, hold that down, and then as you start burnishing it, go into the divot right here. So if you can see, right on the edge, I went into the divot, right? And then once you get that in there, then you bring it all out and push all that glue out. Ooh. This is how I destroy my mats. Again, coming in along the side, give it that crease and bring it all out, pushing out all that extra glue. So you get this. I don't know if you can see the little divots. And do it again on the other side. I had wipes. Oh, I do have wipes. But Leo broke my packaging, so they're all dry. Of course they are. And clean my work area, because when you work with white, it gets really dangerous. Let's dry this up. Okay. And there goes Loki. He was being such a good boy. All right, let's do it again. So we're gonna add a glue all on this side. Maybe I should be so heavy-handed, but I am. You're gonna bend it in on the center, hold that down, give it a good burnish, and then give it that crease right along the side, and then push out. So you get that. Come in, wipe up my glue. Again on the other side, into that crease, and then out. Give it a good burnish. And now we're going to train these to go the opposite way. Just a little bit. Make sure your surface is clean. And then we're going to come in and brush up right along the side of that chipboard or cardboard that you're using to give it a definitive line. I'm going to do that for both sides. Okay. And there you go. That's our spine. So now we're going to put this together. I'm going to come in with my big tape. Not all the way to the edge. Let me turn it this way because this is the part that we're gluing. Not all the way to that edge. So whether you're using adhesive or wet glue, do not go all the way to the edge, because, let me grab the other one, it will seep out and then attach itself to your spine and then potentially break your paper. So let me bring my finished one in so you can see. So here is the spine. You can see it's butted up to it, but not overlapping it, and making sure that there's enough wiggle room for that glue to spread without coming and touching the other side. So when it opens, you have this. Okay, I'll show you now. So we are going to remove the one side. We're going to work with one side only. And there's two ways that you can do this. You can either butt it up to it, or you can do what I'm going to do, and that's fold it. Let me work with the side that doesn't have. And then bring them together like this. And then make sure that they're even. So that's the way I'm comfortable with. That's what I'm going to do. First, I'm gonna add just a bit of glue, not getting too close to that edge. So you can see I left a lot of space. This one's a little too far. Left a lot of space. I'm gonna bend this paper back on itself. Okay, give me my crease that I'm looking for. There it is. And then be mindful of where your seams are at. If you used a 12 by 12 to cut out your 10 by 10, then that's fine. Me, I used two 8.5 by 11s to give me what I needed. So I want to make sure that my seam is going up and down. So I'm going to come in and I'm going to butt this up right up against the edge, making sure that they are even and giving it a good press. So now I'll open it up and I'll burnish it down. Again, I'm checking to make sure that there's no glue that leaked out and giving it time to attach itself. Alright, so we're going to come in from the inside and just keep burnishing. Now we're going to do the same on this side. And Loki heard something in the hallway. He thinks he's such a guard dog. Loki's only 11 pounds. He's a little thing with a big heart though. Sometimes that bark scares me because I'm not expecting him to be so explosive, and then woof. All right, I'm gonna double check to make sure that my seams are in the same direction from top to bottom, and then I'm gonna come here, line it up, try not to let the score tape make contact. Once I feel like it's straight, then I can release and then give it a good burnish. Open it up, and then we're going to come in and reinforce that on the inside. All right, and that's what our cover is looking like. Easy peasy. I love this lay flat method. Love it. So now we're going to work on our hinge, which is going to bind all our pages to the inside. So our cover is done. And for the hinge, we are going to need a piece of paper that is cut at 7 by 7.5. This is our length. So this is going to sit inside just short of the edge. So our pages will fit short of the edge. Okay. So you're going to bring out your scoreboard and you're going to score at 1.5 with the 7-inch side on the top. Right? You're going to score at 1.5, 2, 2.5, 3, 3.5, 4, 4.5, 5, and 5.5. Those, now we're gonna do our folding. So, at the first score line that we made, you're gonna fold up. Okay? I'm not gonna burnish anything until we've done everything. The next fold is going to fold towards you, right? Or away from you, fold it away from you. The next fold, you're gonna bring it towards you, right? Okay, away from you. You can actually do them all away from you, and then we'll fold them. Sorry guys, this is the first time I've ever done a tutorial like this. I promise they'll get better. Okay, and then the last one. Right, so they all folded. So, what's easy for me is if I turn it this way. So, I'm going to bring my first mountain up, right? That's hinge number 1 that's going to hold a page. This is the space in between. So, I'm going to skip that score line. On the next score line, I'm going to bring that one in, right? And give it a good fold. So, Now it's looking like this. I'm going to skip this one, right? And then the next one, next to the last, I'm going to bring that one up and then fold it. So now it looks like this. So we have 1, 2, 3 pages. Now I can go in and burnish my hinges. This is, I think, is the hardest part to explain. Skip one first line, fold that one up, right? And give it that train as if it was glued together. Skip the next one. That one is going to come up towards you. Give it a good fold. Scrunch it together. Skip the next one on the next to the last. You're going to do the same thing. Now we're going to glue it. So, because my score tape is not at a 1/2 inch, let me do it this way. I bring the score tape as close to that score mark. We're now going over it. And then the next one, I bring it as close to that fold without overlapping. We're going to skip the next one. You're going to lay tape. So we got 1, 2, 3. On the 4th one, you're going to lay tape. And on the 5th one, you're going to lay tape. Skip number 6, 7, and 8. And then we're going to bring those all together. And the reason why I put my tape this way is in the areas that my tape comes up short, the other tape picks it up. So I'm going to fold that down and give it a good burnish. Okay, fold, give it a good burnish. And then we're going to do the next one. So that's 1, 2. And then we're going to fold that over. And we're going to give it a good burnish. And then we're going to bring it back and give it another good burnish. We want these pages to be flowing easily back and forth. Then we're going to do this one and this one. And then for simplicity, I'm just going to bring it towards me. Fold, give it a good burnish. And this is what it looks like on the front. So I maneuver them, I move them, breaking up those fibers, right? And there we have our book hinge. Don't worry about the writing, it's going to be covered with the base. Before we lay the tape on the back, we're going to miter the corners just a little bit to let the pages come in easier when we slide them in. Just a little bit. Make sure not to pass that score mark. Okay, turn this one around. And the last one. Okay. Now we're going to attach it to our book. Okay. So, let's get my score tape. I have release tape all over. Okay. All right. Cut that. I want to go over the seams so I can make sure that it's catching. I'm going to come in on this side and catch those 2 seams. And then for the end, I'll just come in with my smaller tape. Butt it up as close as I can. And the last. I'm going to overlap it just a bit. I'm going to give it a good burnish. And I'm going in those seams to make sure that tape catches. All right, we're going to release our tape. Which way am I going? Okay, start releasing. Let me burn it, make sure I burnished it really good. Okay, so that's the first one. I lost a bit down there. Oh, this is where it overlaps. Okay, so let's get it down. See if we can okay, we got it to let go. And I have a piece of tape, release paper here that I need to get off. What is that? Glue. Okay, going this way, hold that down. And of course I am going to come in with wet glue. That one tore, so let's come in on this side. And that happens because the tapes are overlapping each other. And bring that down and then come in from the opposite way. Now, that's what we have. I turn it over and bring up your hinges so they stand up, right? And then I'm gonna add glue. This is probably overkill, but I'd rather be safe than sorry. Bring back your book. And for this, I usually stand up. And we're gonna get it as centered as we can. So remember, you have that seam in this, that's your middle, right? And then if your hinges are standing up, you can kind of gauge where, because that's 1.5 inches, where it lands. And then just bring it up and center it from top to bottom. I think that's about right. And then I'm gonna come in and glue it down. Give it a good burnish. Get in between those hinges. All right. And if there's any seepage of glue, just grab them. Grab it. Wipe it away while it's still wet. And then that last page. Anything on the top? Yep. There we go. I want to make sure it catches. I think we got good adherence. Now right at your bend, we're going to start training this paper to bend. So the one on the bottom is already trained to bend, but we want to help this one along. Then we're going to come around on the other side, find your seam, and then just come along. I think it's better with, this will be better with this. And then just help it along, scoring and guiding it very gently. Come back to the other side. Okay. And then make sure everything is adhered. And there is our book. Make sure everything catches. All the spaces in between are all laying flat and that they're caught. And there you have it. We built our book. We built our book. Okay, make sure everything, the glue is still wet, so I want to make sure everything is adhered, everything is stuck. And there it is, guys. Part 1, we built the cover. So hopefully I wasn't too complicated. It wasn't too complicated. It's basic construction. But next we'll be doing our pages. And I have my prototype here already done. And this is what she looks like. This is the one, my other one I need to know. Here is my prototype. So when we come back, we will be working on our page layout. So we'll be making the bases as well as the layouts and the inserts, our flips and tucks and all that good stuff. As you can see, making sure. So we'll be doing this next. Hope you're excited. All right, see you at the next one. Bye now.